Hey everybody, happy Sunday. This is my, I think, third or fourth time recording this video. It's gonna be about time frames and what each one's purpose is and how to use them to your advantage when you're looking for a trade. The reason I'm recording this video is because I feel like I keep making it just a little too confusing, and I really don't want to make this subject. I want it to be clear for you guys because I think it's extremely important. So I got a couple notes here. I mean, nothing major, but I wanted to go over essentially what I'm looking for in each time frame and how to go from one to the next and how to use it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's keep this up. Let's keep this up right over here. So without going through an example just yet, these are what I'm looking for on every time frame. On the 5-minute, I'm looking for my setups and an RSI trigger. What is a setup? It's from, if you look at my last, I believe 2 videos ago, I had a checklist video. That checklist is what a setup is to me. So it's the close above or below dragon. It's a 3CR. It's a pullback. It's descending momentum or growing momentum. Well, both of them in whatever direction you're trading. That's a setup to me. And the RSI trigger is my momentum, which is essentially what we're trading. We're always trading momentum. So on the 5-minute, again, setups and RSI trigger. On the 15-minute, I need an RSI trigger because we're looking for momentum on the higher time frame. So as we move up, you want to see and make sure and confirm RSI is agreeing with you. 30-minute, you can see I have RSI trigger and then I have RSI in your favor. So what's the difference? RSI in your favor, while the other ones I'm going to looking for a trigger, I just want to see that the 30-minute is agreeing with me. I don't necessarily have to see a trigger. If I do, it's much better, and a lot of times you do see them anyways. But I just want to make sure that RSI is in my favor. So I chose an example that happened a bit ago on gold, and I'll kind of elaborate on this RSI in your favor. And then 1 hour and 4 hour, my levels. So I'll also explain how I'm looking for levels. I think I explained it in the last video, but I'll go over it again anyways, just because I think it's extremely important. So how does the hierarchy go in terms of going from one time frame to the next? It starts off on the 5-minute. So on the 5-minute, I start by looking for my setup. So we can see here, we had a 3CR, we pulled back, and then we closed below. Cool. So we have a setup. We also have RSI trigger. So let's look for our RSI trigger. Perfect. We have a bust, pullback, break, and close. Okay. So now we've completed everything on the 5-minute. What's the next step? From this point here, I typically will go next over to the levels, because if I'm looking for a short, chances are it's not just gonna go completely the other way and then I have to change my bias. Sometimes it does, and that's fine, but most of the time if I'm looking for a short, I'm eventually gonna get that short. So it's best to just look for your levels now and have them up for when you get your entry signal. So we go over to the 1 hour. We're right here. So what is a level that I'm looking for have to show me? Well, if I'm looking for a short, I'm gonna look for strong buyers to trade below. I don't want to trade into strong buyers, because if I do, chances are it's gonna bounce. The trade's gonna bounce on me and it's gonna stop me out. So I want to be below those buyers within a clear trading zone that I can basically get in and get out in, and make my money. So this is also another good example too, because what I'll do is on the 1 hour, I'm looking for those levels. So let's look for some strong buyers. We have some here. We have strong buyer. Whoops. Because this is a low that created a new high. So these are strong buyers here. This right here, again, low that created a new high. Let's mark that up. Nice. Another one here. And this is all we're gonna do. So if you look over on the 5-minute, you can see I'm over here. So there's no levels over here, and if you zoom out far enough, the chart starts to get really small, and you can kind of look for buyers over here. You can see these here. Let's mark that up. Those are some strong buyers. But you're starting to get zoomed out a little bit. So this is where the 4 hour comes in. When you start to zoom out just a little too much and your chart starts to look like this, chances are there's going to be a 4 hour level that's going to take over the 1 hour chart. So you move over to the 4 hour chart, and let's do the same exact thing. Let's look for our buyers, and sure enough, the level I marked up over here was a level on the 4 hour, but we actually don't have any other levels, which is nice. So that means from here to here is free, clear trading space. I mean, I'm not going to zoom out however far and try to find a level. It's only within the closest. It's all within recent time. So the closer the levels, I believe, are stronger. So with that, now we have our levels. Cool. So we went from the 5 minute to the 1 hour. Now where do we go? If we have a trigger, always make sure that everything's in alignment. Just as a side note, if any of the time frames fall out of alignment, don't FOMO and don't take the trade. So always check that you're still in alignment. Again, let's go back to the 5 minute. We have our trigger here. So now we go over to the 15 minute, and we're gonna look for an RSI trigger. So on the 15 minute, we had here a bust, pullback, break and close. Okay, great. So from this point, we go over to the 30 minute. Let's see. Oops. There. Okay. So now let's go to the 30 minute, and let's look, and you can see it's not in our favor yet. Now we're looking for RSI in our favor, and it's not. It's still above the 0 level to the upside. I want to see this to the downside, and even though it's only 1.49, it makes a difference. And you can even see that it wouldn't have worked from there. It ends up pulling back on you again. So now let's do the whole thing again. Let's look for another trigger. So we pulled back, and then we get another break here. Alright, so now we have this one. Let's go over to the 5 minute to make sure. Man, my levels are not, for some reason, they don't show up on all the time frames. It's really weird. There we go. Okay, so again, make sure everything's in alignment. We have the break of the 20 level here in this area. Cool, so we still have 5 minute alignment. Now we have the 15 minute in alignment. We go over to the 30 minute, and the 30 minute is in favor with us. It's on the downside to the short side, and we have everything else in alignment. So where do we take our trade? Well, now that we have all of our levels marked up, oops. Yeah. Now that we have all of our levels marked up, we know exactly what to trade through. So you can even see here, I mean, look, we had this level marked up, and where did it rejected. It pulled back real quick, but once it broke through it, you would have gone in, and your trade would have just worked from here to the next level, and it would have gone beyond it. So you could have even traded from, once we got our trigger here to here. Let's see how many pips that is. Potentially you could have traded it from here to here as well. This is 10 pips. As long as you're not trading, you know you're trading into support, you want to be out by the time you hit this support. My preference is to trade below, so I would have preferred to be down here, which again, this would have worked even better than this trade over here. But this just goes to show you the thought process of how I'm looking for a trade and using every time frame to my advantage. So once you got here, you put your stop somewhere above here, either above this candle or this candle, whichever is up to you. And then again, yeah, trade would have just worked right down to another support level as well, which is awesome to see. and it would have continued and would have continued. Yeah. All right. I don't want to go too much into it, or I don't want to say too much more to confuse you guys. I want to just, I think I gave you enough information there. If you guys have any questions, as always, just let me know, please. I'll respond in the comments, or if you send me a DM on Twitter, I'll respond to you. I always want to try to help you guys out. So yeah. All right, guys. Let's have a great week this week and kill it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.